What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to My Social Life. This is the podcast where we teach you how to grow on social media by talking to people that have actually done it. And before we jump into today's episode, there's a couple housekeeping things we have to go over. First, if you like this episode, be sure to leave us a rating and a review. The more positive ratings and reviews we get, the more it helps people find the show and we grow the community that we're developing here. And if you're one of those new people that have recently found the podcast, welcome. Make sure you subscribe to stay updated for more episodes. We drop episodes Mondays, a full interview. Thursday is a takeaways episode where I sit down one-on-one and talk to you about the episode of the week. And one more thing, while you're listening to this podcast right now, make sure you screenshot it, post it to your Instagram story, and tag @MySocialPod, and I will feature you on our account. I might even send you a message as well. Now, before we jump into this episode with Pilot Luana, there's one thing I do want you to be aware of. We recorded this episode over Skype, so we had some issues with the audio quality and the connection. So there were points where I had to remove different pieces of this episode because you couldn't understand what was happening. I've left as much as I could in there, but just understand that it's not as crisp and the audio quality isn't quite as good as you're used to here on My Social Life, but it's still a great episode. Luana was an awesome guest. She's the biggest guest we've ever had with over 125,000 Instagram followers. I really think you're going to like this episode. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of My Social Life. Today is episode 17, and I am joined today by Luana Torres. You can find her on Instagram and all social media at Pilot Luana. She's currently sitting at over 125,000 Instagram followers, and if you didn't figure it out just by her name, she is a pilot. Luana is a helicopter pilot based out of Vancouver, Canada, originally from Brazil. Luana, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So I just kind of want to start with Brazil. If my research is correct, you're from Rio originally?
Yes.
So what was it like growing up in Brazil?
Well, Brazil is a really beautiful country. Unfortunately, it's a little dangerous right now, so that's the reason why I moved out. But it's nice. It's a nice country. People are warm there. People are nice, and yeah, I like to live there. And it's like completely different from Canada because it's like summer all year long. So yeah, it's a nice country.
And then so you started flying helicopters in Brazil originally, right?
I did. We started flying in 2014 in Rio. Yeah, I moved to the US after that.
What was the motivation to start being a helicopter pilot originally?
So my brother is a helicopter pilot. So I grew up with him talking about helicopters all the time. So I was pretty familiar with it, but I didn't always dream about being a pilot. And my brother was actually a little concerned when I came into him and said, okay, I want to be a pilot, because he was like, you've never thought about that before, you know? When I used to talk about helicopters, he used to say, oh, that's boring, because every time that our family got together, he was always talking about helicopters. But so I graduated in economics in Brazil, and that was in the end of 2012. And in 2013, I was studying for a test in Brazil so I could start working as an economist. And one day I just realized that I wasn't happy doing what I was doing. And I decided to go for helicopters. I was like trying to get a sign from God or something like that. And I started like searching about it. And I was like, yeah, that seems fun. And a couple of years ago, like it was in 2010. So before I graduated, I did a helicopter flight in Australia. That was my very first helicopter flight. And I remember calling my brother and saying, oh my gosh, you have the most amazing job in the world. So I always had like that thing on my mind, you know, where pilots were pretty awesome. And then maybe I wanted to do that one day. And I think in 2014, I just said, I'll go for it. And actually, in 2013, I started the ground school. And in 2014, I actually started flying.
Okay. So do you remember the first flight where you were flying? Like where you were the pilot?
I do. I remember my very first flight. I remember because a lot of people were telling me about auto rotation, and I didn't know what it was. People used to tell me, oh, it seems like a roller coaster, but it's like scarier. And I was like, okay, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be okay with it. I'm actually a big fan of roller coaster. So at my very first flight, I told my instructor about it. I was like, okay, what the hell is auto rotation? Well, there are a lot of people telling me about it. And he was like, okay, I don't usually do that. on the first flight, but I'll do that for you. Are you okay if I try to do 1 hour rotation with you here? And I said, yeah, go for it. And when he did it, I thought it was totally fine. I saw that he had the control of the aircraft, and that was like, I remember, that was the thing I remember about my first flight. That was the auto rotation, he explaining it to me, and it's in my memory. It was a really good flight.
That's awesome. And so you said, was it 2015 you moved to the United States?
I moved in 2015. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you got your helicopter pilot's license there as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, so that means, and you also have it in Canada now, so you have your license in 3 different countries then?
Yes, I have my private license in 3 different countries, but I haven't gotten my commercial yet. So, yeah, I'm 10 hours away from my commercial license now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, I bet. So what's kind of the difference between getting a license in Canada, the US, and Brazil?
So I think they're pretty similar. All of them request the exactly same thing, but I do think that in Canada, the training is like harder in some ways, especially because your instructors, they usually have a lot of experience, a lot of hours, so they are really picky. The path in Brazil, when you get your commercial license, you usually get your instructor license, and then you start instructing and you build hours, and then you get your first job as a pilot, maybe doing tourism, something around that. Here in Canada, it's a little bit different. So the path is you get your commercial license and then you start working. So the instructors, they actually have a lot of hours. It's like almost the end of their career, and they have a lot of experience to pass to the students. So yeah, that was a little difficult when I came here. I was like, okay, they're like, the standards are really, really high. So I'm actually glad I came here. But all the countries are like almost the same thing.
And so what was the motivation? I know you said you originally left Brazil because it wasn't as safe as it has been in the past. So why did you end up leaving the US and coming to Canada?
I actually got a job offer from a company here in Vancouver, and so they called me, and they knew that I hadn't got my commercial license in the US, and they were like, are you okay coming to Canada and actually converting your licenses and just starting working here? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. And I started searching about it. And I actually didn't search that well, because when I came here, I realized that I couldn't convert all my hours, just my license. That's why I'm still doing my hours to get my commercial license. But that was the motive I first came to Canada. That it was because of a job offer.
Is that job helicopter related? Like, is it a pilot's job?
It's a helicopter company here in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And then but on top of training to get your commercial license and working, you also run your Instagram account.
Yes.
And your blog. So was creating content something you always like to do, or did that kind of come later on?
It came later on, and it's sometimes a little overwhelming because you have to have a lot of ideas, and sometimes I don't think I'm really good at this, but I try my best. My Instagram came like pretty normal. It was I had a personal account. It was like Luana Agra. It was my first name and last name. And then I said, okay, so maybe my friends from Brazil, they don't want to see helicopters all the time. So I might just create another account where I just share my trainings, and it will be only helicopter stuff. So I started Pilot Luana, and in the beginning, I would only put helicopter pictures. I would repost videos about helicopters. And one day it started growing so fast that I just left my other account and I said, okay, I'm going to use this one for personal motives and everything. And but now sometimes I think I feel a little pressured because I want to give content to my followers. And sometimes I just think that's not good enough. Maybe they won't like it, but I'm always trying to do my best.
And then over time, did you started to kind of branch out a little bit more as to more than just helicopters?
Yeah, when I started using as my personal account too, I started posting everything, my daily workout, what I was going to eat, what I was going to wear, what I used in my hair, those kind of things. And yeah, it started spreading a little more.
Yeah. And then, sorry, back to those accounts that reposted you. Is there any ones one that you can remember where they reposted you and you really got a lot of followers from it?
I don't think I remember any of it right now. I remember when, so there was one that was Pilot GoPro. In the beginning, I had only like 5,000 followers, I think, and they had around 80 something. So when they reposted a picture of mine, I gained a lot of followers.
And so in the beginning, how often were you posting on your Instagram?
I would post maybe once a week, I think.
What was the reason behind posting only once a week? Like, was it you were just too busy, or what was your thought process behind it?
I think I wasn't that into Instagram at the time. I don't think it was that big. It was big, but not as it is today. I think people use a lot more today, especially with the stories. At that time, we didn't have any stories or anything like that. So I would post just once a week, and I was trying not to be too boring because it was always like helicopter pictures. So I was like, if I posted like more than once per day, people would say like, again, it's the same helicopter, girl. I know what you're doing.
And then when you were taking photos in the beginning, I think you said you took some selfies and stuff. Like, so was most of your content like cell phone pictures?
Cell phone pictures, all of them.
Really?
I didn't have a camera at the time.
No, but do you have one now?
I do, yes.
Yeah, do you know what kind you're using right now?
It's a Canon 70D, I think. 70D.
Okay. That's a good camera. So did you start doing photography as well as helicopter stuff with your Instagram?
I actually don't take the pictures. My husband would take the pictures.
Oh, that's awesome. And he's a helicopter pilot too, right? If my research is correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then so earlier you touched on with creating all this content, sometimes it gets hard. So how do you come up with your ideas for all your posts?
I just think a lot and try to search on the internet what people might want to know. And now it's kind of funny because everything that I see, I think as a post.
And then so with always kind of thinking of different content ideas, has the amount you've posted gone up, or are you still around that one time a week?
No, now I post, I think every day mostly.
Really? Okay.
Every day. I try to post every day. Yeah, I think mostly every day.
So what was the reason behind your shift to going more than once a week?
I think people actually ask me to, when you leave Instagram for a couple of days, you start getting a lot of DMs like, what happened to you? Are you okay? Why are you here? And I just started posting more, and I think I like it better than just once a week. I actually created a really good community, and I'm really happy with my followers. They are not just some people have followers that they are just there to buy something from you, just to see the look of your day, see what you're doing. But mine, they actually, it seems like they are there to, because they know me. They are there to see when I'm going to get my commercial license. They see that I'm studying pretty hard, that things are not that easy. So yeah, I'm really happy with Instagram right now. So that's why I think I started posting more often.
So what were some things you did then that helped you grow that community?
I don't know. I think it just came in natural. Actually, yeah. I just started posting. In the beginning, you were always trying to be something, not something that you aren't, but something that people will like to see, And when I started just being myself, it actually came in better than before, when I was trying to make my followers happy. One day I just said, okay, so here's who I am, I'm like this, I did that. Sometimes I think it's not exciting, but I think people actually prefer than when you're trying to do something just so they like it.
Mm-hmm. And then one thing I wanted to ask you about, I looked, because I was doing my research and I looked through some of your photos, and you respond to a lot of your comments.
I do. I try to respond everyone, every single person.
And then, so why is that?
I think it feels more personal. I think sometimes people just try to read you. I know that sometimes I comment on some pictures of some girls that I think they're pretty or something, and they don't they don't answer me back, and I feel like, oh my gosh, I just said that she's pretty, and she didn't even say thank you or anything. And I don't know, I'm like, I think it's a polite thing to do, and I really like it. I just sometimes I go over an hour trying to answer everyone. So yeah.
Wow. So do you usually respond to comments right when you post your photo, or do you usually do it later on?
No, I usually do later on. I try to answer the first ones, but then later in the day or the day after, I try to respond to everyone.
And do you try to respond to all of your DMs as well?
All my DMs as well. Sometimes some of the DMs are just like, hey, and I'm like, okay, hey, what? I'm not sure what you want. And because I'm related to helicopters, there are a lot of comments like saying something maybe that's not that nice. I'm married, so sometimes those comments I just don't respond to. And I read every single of them.
That's fair. So I'm just curious because I have like 900 followers. So how many DMs are you getting in a day if you have like 125,000?
And sometimes you just post something that they are interested in, and they just like start bombing you with the comments. But I don't know. Let me check. So, for example, today I got to around 50.
50 in a day. Wow. That's a lot. Holy cow. And you read every single one.
I read every single one. I try to. I do my best to read every single one, but sometimes I'm not online or my phone is not near me or I'm doing something else, and just sometimes I miss some of them.
So if you're posting every single day, how often are you getting content? Like, do you ever go out and do a photo shoot to get a lot of content in one day, or is it all just on the fly?
No, I try to go out every Monday actually to get content. And I usually fly Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So I get some picture from there as well. But lately I've been studying because I was going to do my written exam, my Transport Canada written exam. I did it last week. So I didn't have much time to go out and get content. My Mondays that they're my day off, I was studying all day. So I was just trying to take some pictures from this year, just trying to do like Throwback Thursday or just a throwback, and I was trying to get content from those pictures because my mom was living here in Vancouver with me in 2018. We actually so we live in the 14th floor and she was living in the 20th, and we used to go out a lot. My mom is 70 years old, so she's retired and she just want to enjoy life. So we traveled a lot in 2018. So I have a lot of pictures that I haven't posted yet, but I hate to post something that I'm not doing at the moment. Just like right now, I don't know. I go to my bed and just start reading. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna post a picture when I was in Hawaii. I don't actually like to do that. Sometimes I have to because I really don't have any content, and I try to post every day. I try to communicate with all my followers, but I actually like to post things that I'm doing at that moment. I think it feels more personal, and I don't know, because you're doing something, things I don't have to think about what the caption's gonna be, things just come in. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to share with my followers what I'm doing right now. So I usually like to do those things, but sometimes it's pretty hard.
Yeah. But then, so if you're trying to share in the moment, is there a time of day that you're trying to post at, or is it just kind of whenever things happen?
Whenever things happen. People told me, just go on your insights and it has a time and your followers are more direct. But I don't believe in those things. I just post it whenever I think that's nice. When I'm doing something, I don't wait to a specific time on the day that I can post something. I just post whenever I think it's okay.
Have you noticed, I know you don't try to, but have you noticed a time of day that works best for you? Or is it not something you really pay attention to?
My Instagram says that it's between 9 and 12 a.m. I usually think that if I post it nighttime is better than during the day. I don't know, maybe because of our time difference, because here in Vancouver, it's still 4:30 p.m. So we're pretty Pacific time, So I think the rest of the world is later. So maybe at nighttime they are almost waking up and they use Instagram a lot when they wake up. I don't know, but I don't think about that a lot.
And then so with living in Canada, the US and Brazil, and do you have followers, I'm assuming all over the place in all the different countries?
Yes, most of my followers are actually from the US. I don't have as much followers as I want to in Canada.
Do you have a plan as to how you're going to try and get more Canadian followers?
I don't. I don't know how. Yeah, I thought about that, but I don't know. Maybe I have to start following more people from here, but I don't know. Maybe doing more collabs from brands from here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know yet how I'm going to do that. But yeah, I hope that I get more followers from Canada. I think it makes sense.
So how do you make content with all the different types of followers in mind?
What do you mean?
So is there different types of content that performs better with people from the US than Canada or vice versa? Or is there content that people from Brazil like better?
Most of my followers like helicopter stuff. If I post something like any picture with a helicopter, they will like it more than if I just post a picture of myself. Maybe if it's a selfie, they like it too. But if I post something like I'm raring or maybe I did something fun, they don't usually respond that well as much as when I post something about helicopters.
Is there any helpful apps or websites that you use when you're creating your content? Like, do you use, just as an example, one would be like UNUM, so you can see your grid before you post your next photo to see what it would look like with all your pictures or anything?
Yes, I do that. And I'm really picky. I wish I didn't do that because I'm always trying to get everything perfectly. And from time to time, I try to change the how can I say it? Like the temperature on my feet. So now in the winter, I'm trying to go for like more white or blue, and in the summer, it's something like warmer.
Is there a reason why you try to keep it consistent? Like, is it just a personal thing, or have you noticed it helps? Like, do more people like it when it's consistent?
I think both. It's a personal thing, and I think it helps a lot too, at least for me. If I see someone else's Instagram, if they have everything really white or clean, it catches my attention.
And I looked at Social Blade, and you're gaining over 9,300 new followers a month. Do you know, like, that's really good. Do you know why you're getting so many people every month? Like, do you have any idea?
I don't actually.
But so if you woke up tomorrow and you had 0 followers and 0 photos, what would you start doing to grow your account again in 2019?
I think the most important thing is starting tagging people and hashtag me. And another thing that helped me a lot was I used to like a lot of other people's pictures. I used to comment on those pictures. Everything that I thought it was, I thought that I liked it. So, for example, I'm into workout. So I would go to a workout account and I would start liking a lot of pictures. I would start following people who follow that account. So that helped me a lot in the beginning. I remember there was an account in Portuguese that it's called Voe com Elas. It means fly with them, but them in that case it's her. It's like plural for female. And I remember going to that account and started following a lot of people that used to follow that account because I knew that if they followed that account, they were into helicopters and aviation in general. So it was like, maybe if they see me, they will start following me back because they will like what the content that I'm providing them. So I would definitely start doing those things again.
Mm-hmm. And then one thing you mentioned earlier was collaborating. Have you ever collaborated with other content creators?
Not with other content creators. No, just with brands.
I did notice you did a collaboration with Lincoln, I think.
I did, right. Yes, last month.
How did that come about?
You mean how was it?
Like, how did it happen? Like, how did Lincoln find you? Like, how did that all happen?
I have no idea how to find me. They just sent me an email. At first, I was like, "Do you know who I am? Like I'm a helicopter," and I didn't know. But they sent me an email and they asked if I wanted to join them for 3 days in Tofino, and I was like, "Yeah, for sure, I want to go." And that was it. It was seriously, I think it was the best experience I've ever had. Like especially from Instagram. It was amazing.
So like what made it so good? Like what did Lincoln do that kind of made it such a good experience?
They did everything. Everything was taken care of. When we arrived, we knew where we were going. Everything was set up. Everything was organized. It was really awesome. We didn't have to think about anything. We just had a schedule, and they would say, okay, so we'll meet at 11 o'clock in that place, and that's it. So we would arrive there, we would chat, we would have some meals, we would have some drinks, and we would leave and go to the hotel. And one thing that I thought was really amazing was that they gave us the car that we chose at the moment, right? And then they would say, okay, so just take your car, and we would suggest for you to go to those places where we think that's a nice place to take pictures of. But we didn't have to go there. We could do whatever we want to. So some people made it through all the places that they suggested. Some people just made it to one, and they just decided to go for another ride, just try to explore it by themselves. So I thought that was pretty amazing because at first I thought that they wanted us to do everything that they would say. But no, we were like pretty free in there. We could do whatever we want to, and it was super cool.
Now, yeah, and you don't have to divulge everything if you don't want to, but I was just curious as what the exchange is like. Like, what did you have to do for Lincoln? Like, how many posts did they want?
I did one post on Instagram. No, two posts on Instagram and one post on my blog.
And then, so was that your first ever collaboration, or were there ones before that?
With the travel collaboration with a company like that we travel with them, it was the first one.
And then I think you recently did one with luggage that follows you around.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that was awesome. What was the story behind that one?
So that one, it was actually, they just contacted me by Instagram, and they asked if I wanted that luggage. I don't usually do collabs. They're not paid anymore. I used to do a lot of them, but when I started trying to get my Instagram as a business account too, I started not doing those anymore. But with the luggage, I thought it was pretty awesome. I said, yeah, I definitely want that luggage. And they just asked for a video, and that was pretty easy.
And so with now only for the most part doing brand deals where you're paid, do you notice companies are kind of put off by that? Like, do you think companies think they don't have to pay influencers now, or do you think most companies expect that they have to?
I think most companies expect that they have to. It's funny because I think some companies just contact me and they say, oh, hey, I want to send you a product in exchange for a post. And I said, oh, that's really amazing. So I'll give you my media kit and just let me know what you think. And they usually get back to you and they say, oh, I saw your media kit and that's pretty awesome. And they usually go for it or don't go for it. But they expect it to.
That's awesome. And you talked about your media kit. What do you include in yours?
So on my media kit, you will find a little about myself, a little about my insights, my Instagram insights. So what you can expect to have in return if you do a partnership with me. I also have some of my old partnerships. I have some information about them and some content that I created for them and prices.
With doing your Instagram, you also work on your other social media platforms as well. I found your YouTube. So you have, I think, about 3.4 thousand subscribers on your YouTube right now, but you have multiple videos with like way more views than you have subscribers. Like I think I have written down here, your first cross-country flight had 42,000. You went to a helicopter expo, you had 29,000. Your tour of the Grand Canyon had 23,000. So how do you get so many views on your videos?
To be honest, I think because they are kind of old. So they've been there for like 2 years. So maybe people have been seeing them. But I'm trying to get back on YouTube. But the thing is about social media, you have to have consistency. So I don't want to just started posting things on YouTube again and just run out of content and spend another year without posting anything. And I have 3 videos ready, everything edited, perfect. Just need to upload them, and I'll try to do that every week. I'm going to try to do a post on YouTube every week. And yeah, I think that it's the best thing to do. But those videos, I think the views there because they've been there for a long time now.
And then you also have a Facebook. I think you have just over 3,000 likes on Facebook. Do you change up your content from your Instagram to Facebook, or is it pretty similar?
It's pretty similar. Usually it's the exactly same thing. The only difference is on Facebook, I share a lot of videos that I find interesting on the internet. So if I see a new helicopter being tasked by Airbus or by any other other company, I will share that on my YouTube, on my Facebook. And Instagram, I don't usually do that. Every content on Instagram is mine. But on Facebook, I will share a lot of news about helicopters, a lot of things like that, or maybe something that I'm doing during the day, but I don't have a picture of. I just post something like just write it down.
That's awesome. And then I saw you recently started a Twitter as well.
Yeah.
Is there plans to do more with Twitter, or is it just kind of something you started up for fun?
There's always a plan. The thing is, sometimes the plan doesn't go as we wanted to. But yeah, I'll try. I'm not good at in Twitter because I don't know. I don't know. I've never used Twitter a lot. Not even when it first started. But I plan on starting more in there.
And then you also mentioned a couple times you have a blog. How long have you been blogging for? Was it something you started when your Instagram started to kind of take off?
No, I actually started my blog. It's been, I think, 1.5 months, maybe 2 months.
Okay, really? So what was the reason behind you wanting to start your blog?
So an agent called me and we were chatting and they asked me, Instagram ended today. What can you offer for your followers or for a company or for anything? And I was like, well, I don't know, maybe nothing else, it's just Instagram for now. I used to have YouTube and I told them I used to have YouTube, but I don't post it anymore. And they told me that it's really important for you to have something else. You cannot just, he doesn't think that Instagram will end it like anytime soon, but it's good for you if you're trying to do a business out of it. It's good for you to have another platform. So I always thought about creating a blog. I actually prefer YouTube's videos and blogs. I don't know. I prefer video. I prefer to see the person than just read it about it. The thing is that I think that sometimes it's easier for you to just write it down something that you have in your mind and just stop and do a video. With the video, you have to set the camera and everything. With the blog, you have your computer all the time with you usually, so you just write it down. And I like a lot to blog. I just started recently, but it's been fun because sometimes I have something that I want to share with my followers, and the tags are really big, and I don't think that it works on Instagram. It's too much, and people usually don't read them. Sometimes I just post. If you see my Instagram, I usually post a caption of the picture that I just posted, just something like really short, and I will put like 3 dots, and then I'll put something else, maybe something about my life, something that's going on, or something that I did during the day. So in the blog, I started writing more about me, more about my experiences, and I think that people who are not just interested in seeing pictures, they can go on my blog and just see and read about that specific thing, and I'm always trying to tell my Instagram followers when I posted.
And are you seeing a lot of your Instagram followers come over and read your blog?
Yeah, it was actually easier to make them go to my blog than go to the YouTube. I don't know why, but when I first started, maybe it's because I started my YouTube channel, I think 1.5 years ago, and maybe I didn't have as much followers as I have today. But it's kind of hard to make them watch my videos. They started asking me, oh, just post the videos here. And I was like, the videos are like 1 minute longer. It's longer than 1 minute, so it won't fit on Instagram. But I don't think that they liked it very much. But the blog has been really good. People have been getting back to me and saying that they like it, the content and everything. I've been getting a lot of messages about the blog.
That's awesome. So I'm doing everything, the Instagram, blogging, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and plus working and getting ready to go for your full license there. Where do you find the time to do it all?
I don't think I do, Sometimes I go crazy. I talk with my husband, I can't do that anymore because it's too much. So that's why I told you that actually I didn't tell you, but this week, I'm starting to do something, for example, this thing about posting a picture every day. I don't have to post a picture every day. I was trying to post a picture every day, and do that, and like I have to, but I started like doing things more on my pace, because sometimes I really don't have time. And I think that just now, because I'm doing my training and I'm getting the end of it, that I have to make the best of it. I have to get my training done, and I think I have to put that on the top of my list right now. But so it's pretty hard to do everything at once. I usually do. So as I was telling you, I usually post pictures during the night when I arrived home, I take my shower, I go to bed, and then I have time to answer my followers and post pictures and answer emails. And I have Mondays off, so Vancouver is raining a lot right now. And it's actually good for me because I can like post pictures and do everything on Mondays right now. But yeah, it's hard because you have to have time, you have to put yourself there and make a commitment.
Mm-hmm. And then, so one thing I'm always curious, just with the amount of time that goes into everything, looking back on it, would you say it's been worth it? Like, that's just something I'm always curious about because I put so much time into my podcast right now. So it's like, is doing all the work worth it?
I don't know. I'm not sure right now. It gets better every year. I'm the kind of person that sometimes I feel overwhelmed that I start thinking, okay, I don't want this. I don't need it, so I don't want it. I won't do the effort to do that. I think today people, they always wanted things to happen right now. We are making plans, but we want everything to happen like really fast, and things don't go like that. It's not like that. So we actually have to be patient.
I noticed that you also recently got verified on Instagram.
So Instagram now has a verified thing that you go on your settings and you just ask to be verified. And I asked, and it was fun because I got verified when I was in the trip with Lincoln, and I was actually checking a picture of a verified account where the girl that I was checking, she had a picture on a bathtub, and I was showing my husband. I was like, I want a picture like that, on the bathtub. It seems so nice. And when I got back to my Instagram, my page, I saw the verified, and I was like, oh, something went wrong. Her tip went to my account, And I started laughing. I was like, look, something went wrong. And I then closed Instagram, and I checked it again. I was like, no, I think it got verified. And I was super happy. I didn't see that coming.
That's awesome. And then, so with being verified, have you ever been recognized because of your Instagram?
I did, but that wasn't because I was verified. It was pretty fun because I've been to a helicopter conference last year in Dallas, and it was amazing because I had, I think, 30 or 40,000 followers. No, actually, I think I had 60,000 maybe followers at the time. So there were a lot of people who follow helicopter accounts on Instagram, and people started asking me, can I take a picture with you? Oh, you're Pilot Luana. And I was walking down the corner there, and they were like, oh, Pilot Luana, I follow you on Instagram. I was so happy. I thought it was like, oh my God, that's how being famous is, It was nice.
What do you hope people take away from your content?
I hope they get inspired by someone that, so I'm from Brazil, and I made my way here, and it's not an easy training. To fly helicopters is not easy. Not everyone can do it. And especially we try to study really hard, I'm a woman in a field that there are not a lot of women. There are a lot of airplane pilots. female pilots out there, but helicopter is not that common. So I just hope I can inspire people, from Brazil. I hope I can inspire them to try to challenge themselves and learning a new language and living in a country, and from people from here, if you want to try to learn how to fly a helicopter, I wish you get inspired by me, by seeing what I'm trying to do.
So what's next for you? What do you have coming up?
Getting my license in January, hopefully, and getting my first job as a helicopter pilot. I have no idea what I'm going to do next. We hope to stay in Canada, but we are open to any place in the world. I got some job offers in the US, but then I don't have my commercial license. So I'm not sure how that, it's easy to be, people to offer you a job when you don't have everything ready for it. I'm not sure how it's going to be when I say, okay, I got my license. Now what? Do you still want it? So I don't know. I got a job offer in New York, one in Hawaii, and I got that one in Vancouver that made me come here first. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to find out.
That's awesome. Do you have any long-term goals that you're going after right now?
No, just starting my career. So as a helicopter pilot, I always thought about being a search and rescue or medevac pilot, because I always try to do something that I can fly and help people put those together. But also sometimes we think, my husband and I, we think about maybe having a helicopter in the future and just having our own business. My brother is also a helicopter pilot. My sister-in-law is a helicopter pilot. So we're always thinking about maybe doing that as a family business. But I don't know. My head changes a lot.
That's awesome. And so before we wrap up here, I like to do a little Q&A with all the guests. It's just a bunch of questions that don't fit into the regular interview. The first question is, what's a show that you're binging on Netflix right now?
Jane the Virgin.
Oh, really? I've heard good things about that show.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next question is, what's your favorite app that's not Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter?
Higher Weather. It's not my favorite one, but it's one that I use a lot.
What's the music that you're listening to right now?
I'm a big classic rock fan. Every day I listen to the same one. Playlist. Yeah. Creedence Clearwater, Pink Floyd, Sting. Yeah.
Do you have any books that you'd recommend?
Books that I recommend. So I would say The Secret.
Next question. Do you listen to any podcasts? And if so, which ones?
Can I say yours?
You can if you want to, but I'm looking for other ones that aren't mine.
I've heard Pilot. That was actually the only one that I've heard.
So usually I ask this question because a lot of my guests have been in Ottawa so far, but I guess this question I'll change a little bit. What are some restaurants in Vancouver that you'd recommend, like a hidden gem or something like that?
I really like West Oak. It's a restaurant in Yale Town. That's a really nice area here in Vancouver. They have a lot of restaurants in there. And West Oak is one of my favorites. Not just because the food is really good, but also because I like the place, the decoration and everything. It's a nice place, especially for young people. But yeah, it's nice for everyone.
Do you have any consistent morning and night routines?
Morning, I work out every day in the morning. I try to. At least. During the night, I don't know. I think during the night, I check my Instagram. I answer people back. I post pictures. That's usually what I do.
And so this next question I stole from Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is?
No.
The question is, what are you obsessed with? But it's not something from a high level, like I'm obsessed with flying helicopters. It's like, I recently bought this sweater and it's so comfy. I'm obsessed with my new sweater. What's like a random thing that you're obsessed with right now?
My Apple Watch. Obsessed about my Apple Watch. That's definitely it. I keep checking every day how many steps I did. Because I have like 3 friends on it, and I keep seeing if I bat him on the day, if I did more calories.
What are 3 things on your bucket list?
Skydiving for sure. I want to go to the Maldives and maybe swim with whales. I try to get everything done, as we go.
So this next question, you're going to dinner and you can take 3 people. They can be anybody from anywhere, dead or alive. Who would you take to dinner?
Like famous people?
It could be anybody. I've had some people say I'd take my mom, my grandma. I've had some people say like they'll take different celebrities. Like pretty open as to whoever you
I
want to
would
take.
definitely take my mom, my dad, and my husband.
What is something about you people wouldn't expect?
That I like rock. Nobody believes me when I say that I'm a rock fan. But my dad is a musician, and I grew up with him, like literally giving me homework. My homework was listen to music, and I love to. And I want to play the guitar, so maybe that's one of my pocket lists. And he can't know about it. I want to surprise him. And just one day say, "Oh, Dad, let me see that," and just started playing. I think he will be like really surprised.
What's one thing that you think everybody should know?
Like about me or about anything else?
Just in general, something so important that everyone needs to know.
The helicopters are safe.
And so last question, I like to kind of flip the script. I like to ask you for a question of the day. What's a question that you just want to know the answer to?
Does God exist?
Okay, that's awesome. I just want to give you the floor. I want to let you kind of tell everybody where they can find you.
They can find me on Instagram, Pilot Luana, or on YouTube, Pilot Luana, or on my blog, Pilot Luana. Pilot Luana.
Awesome. I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. It was really fun.
It's my pleasure. And I just want to thank everybody that's listened to this episode, whether you've listened the entire way or you've only listened to bits and pieces. I really appreciate you taking the time to check this out. Do me a favor, please go follow Luana on Instagram and check out her blog. Again, it's Pilot Luana. Everything will be linked in the show notes down below. And if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you totally can. I am at the Jacob Kelly. Be sure to leave this podcast a rating and a review. It helps more people find the show. Thank you once again for listening, everybody. We'll talk soon.